Art is everywhere at Burning Man. Some of it is profound, some of it is humorous, some of it is spectacular, some of it is, well, not spectacular. But it all has one thing in common. It's transitory. Black Rock City, the site of Burning Man, officially exists for only 8 days each year. After that, most of the art vanishes. This is the story of one of those temporary, not-so-spectacular pieces, one that I created. My name is Steve Heyl, and I created Via Homo Incendi in 2017. But our story begins 7 years earlier. My first year at Burning Man was 2010. I saw a small art project near the temple. It was sculptures representing several previous Burning Man art themes. There was an aquarium representing 2002, the floating world, things like that. The next year, the art theme was rites of passage. This got me thinking about the events that mark our lives. Growing up Catholic, some of those were of course church-related. In the temple that year, I wrote a quick note that said, "Art project based on Stations of the Cross." Stations of the Cross is a Catholic ritual, usually done on Good Friday, the Friday before Easter. There are paintings or sculptures or other representations of various parts of the journey of Jesus from being sentenced to his crucifixion. The congregation stops at each one of these stations, listens to a description, has a chance to meditate about it, then recites a short prayer and moves on to the next station. Flash forward to the announcement of radical ritual as the theme for 2017. I was coming back to Black Rock City after missing a few years. So I read my notes from previous years thinking about that journey that is Burning Man. I found the note I had written 6 years earlier and it clicked. I would do Stations of the Man. Around the same time, several friends were posting fitness tracker-generated maps of routes they had either run or biked. I'm a big Disneyland fan and I love finding hidden Mickeys. A hidden Mickey is a profile of Mickey Mouse that is part of a larger design or object, such as arranging 3 gears or tires so they form a Mickey. I put these two ideas together, the fitness tracker-generated maps of routes and the hidden Mickey, and decided that my Stations of the Man could also trace a hidden man on the city. My first thought was that each station would have 4 pieces. 1, the Burning Man theme for the year. 2, a synopsis of what was happening in the default world at the same time. 3, a description of the project. Since the Stations of the Cross was a meditation exercise, I thought the 4th piece would be a booklet for people to leave their thoughts. I had envisioned these stations as standalone boxes with these components, but as I worked through the art application, I realized there would be logistical problems with this. I would need to install a stand for each station. At this point, I wasn't sure how many stations I would have, but I knew that meant that I would have to plan to transport some number of structures in my already crowded Prius. I assumed that the book would be on a string so people can hold it while they write. That means that I'd have to have something solid to secure it to. I would have to light the stations at night so people wouldn't run into them inadvertently. The stations would be far enough apart that I couldn't power them all from a single source, so I'd have to figure out multiple power sources. And then there was the MOOP factor. MOOP is matter out of place, a euphemism for trash. People would almost certainly tear pages out of the booklet, so there would be MOOP around the stations. Okay, so the booklet is gone. That means I don't have to come up with a way to secure a book. I remembered that people post signs at the intersections, such and such a camp is this way, that sort of thing. Usually they're on the official street signposts. So I decided I could do the same. Suddenly I've gone from a construction project to a fairly simple installation consisting of laminated pages on existing signposts. And this packs easily. Okay, I really can do this. I prototyped the pages with 2010 Metropolis. I figured if I could distill all the craziness of a first burn into the space I had to work with, I could do any of them. I played with various formats for the pages. I did some experimenting with mounting 3 pages to a pole, but ultimately decided that I could do just as well with 2. One page would be about the art theme. The other would have what was happening in the default world and a statement about the project, same statement on every station. The bottom of both pages listed where the next and previous year stations were, so a participant could travel either, quote, forward or, quote, backward in time. Next question, where to place them. I printed a map of Black Rock City and drew a rough sketch of the Burning Man logo. Turns out that was pretty close to the actual locations I used. Adding up the intersections, I found I needed between 20 and 28 stations. I settled on 22, 20 years back plus the current year and a future entry. My initial research indicated this would also take me back to the last Burning Man without an art theme, which was 1997. I've since found out that there were some themes prior. Anyway, 22 it was. It was a happy coincidence that 22 has some relevant symbolic meanings as well. In numerology, 22 means dreams made manifest, and in biblical studies, 22 represents extreme chaos, both of which are pretty good descriptions of Burning Man. So, with the design in hand and a prototype ready, I filled out the art installation form. There is a Burning Man team that follows up on every art installation form submission to discuss placement, plans for the installation and tear down, lighting, that sort of thing. This project didn't quite fit the normal parameters. They would ask, well, where do you want it placed? Well, it sort of extends across the city. In the end, it all worked out, although without having a specific placement, they couldn't find a place to list it in the directory. The development of the project was half research and half meditation. On the research side, I found whatever documentation I could about the art theme and looked up what was in the news that year. On the meditation side, I thought about what the theme means to me in context of the world that year. I had scheduled a week at the Chautauqua Institute in July and a train ride back from there in upstate New York to Long Beach, yes, all the way across the country. So I had several blocks of time that I could spend on this activity. And by the time I got home from Chautauqua, I pretty much just had to print and laminate everything. Since this was such a simple installation, I was not offered an early admission pass. I waited in the usual 6 hours in line at the gate on Sunday and arrived at camp later than I had really wanted to start putting things out. So early Monday morning, I set out and placed all the stations. I have no way of knowing how many people saw Via Homo Incendi. I included my email address on every station. I didn't get any emails telling me someone saw it, but that's not surprising given that there's effectively no internet available on Playa. So perhaps no one noticed it. An artist makes art first for themselves, especially if, as at Burning Man, it's transitory. If others like it, so much the better, but it's the act of creation that's important. And it's almost more interesting to me if no one did see it, because it was literally the biggest piece of art on the Playa, stretching from Esplanade to Lustrate, and from 4:30 to 7:30. Of course, the day after the temple burn, being a good burner, I retraced my steps and removed everything I had posted. Except for the 2000 and something question mark, i.e. the station that was about the future. It was posted at 6 o'clock in Rods Road. I never did find that one. Maybe I left some moop. Maybe someone took a souvenir. Maybe someone took some inspiration for another art project. I hope it's the latter. But for me, the journey of Via Homo Incendi is complete.